Thank you, Elizabeth. Thank you very much. Actually, it's a great opportunity to be here today because it gave me this time to think back and really think about this topic in a more structured manner. I strongly believe that mentee and mentor are a continuum. So, what you are as a mentor today is largely influenced by your life as a mentee. And therefore, my examples as I move forward are largely about how you can't just go on this journey alone. It is a crosstalk as you move on. So I'm going to request for the next slide. Um, as, may I have the next slide? Yeah, thank you. I'm just going to take a couple of minutes to share with all of you what we learned and I learned specifically from our mentor for over 3 decades, who was a senior faculty in our Department of Pediatrics. And I joined there as a postgraduate medical student and continued to be mentored over the years, even would have continued now if we had not lost him some years back. And when I think about what was the core of our relationship, it was absolute trust. The whole foundation of success that we had as we moved on was the strong belief that he owned our dreams. And we could identify values that he stood for, and we were ready to follow them. And it was a complete acceptance of each other's positive as well as not so positive traits. So it wasn't just a complete yes, yes. And we were committed to mutual respect. So it was a both across mutual respect. And of course, we thrived on a continuous communication for constant learning. So with that foundation, we had a splendid start and we continued that journey with, of course, many challenges. But above all, the most important thing, and that's something which I would really like to share with people who want to become mentors or are mentees or are already mentors or from mentee to mentors, he opened doors for us. And interestingly, each door was separate for each mentee. So it was because the mentor understood what the mentee wanted, the doors were opened accordingly. But we made sure we walked through them. So it was again a path which we walked together. Yeah, thank you. Sorry for this little lag. So how does this relationship move forward? And here I'm going to give you some of the examples that I've learned as a mentor. And again, largely influenced by what I've learned. But if a mentor has to continue to inspire, that is driven by the mentee. It's the hunger to grow, the curiosity of the mentee, which makes the mentor strive to continue to work harder to inspire. And that is how this path moves. It's not a straight line. It is definitely up and down, lots of benefits and challenges. But at the end of it, it is that exciting journey that you want to tread. And you, as a mentor, you have to learn to be an efficient critique, but you can't always be right. And that's something I learned because I had mentees who were not afraid to disagree. We weren't afraid to disagree, and my mentees are not afraid to disagree. And therefore, one is ready for constructive disagreement. And there's a constant communication which helps the learning process both ways. But one thing which, as a mentor, I feel it's very important is that we need to provoke our mentees to think a little beyond the box, to be bold, to explore domains that are out of their reach, which may scare them. But then that's where the excitement is. We have to kind of encourage them to be outliers. And that comes if we are ready to talk through those challenges with them and talk and learn so much that those challenges don't scare either us or them. So we've had many instances in my life and as we've moved on, where we've just taken on these big programs where initially fear that it's not going to work, but it's that constant interaction, learning, which helps. And I think the big thing there is that the mentee has to learn to be honest with failures, and the mentor has to accept that these failures are going to happen. But you just have to keep on at it to try avoiding those failures or working to reduce those failures. But the other thing that I learned from my mentor, and I try very hard, but you know how when you're like, you're kind of rushing to a timeline, you're really stressed for work, is to be sure that you find time to laugh together, to be able to laugh about things, talk about things which are not just work. So it's a combination of both work and beyond work. And the mentee, on the other hand, should really allow the mentor to share his or her dreams. So coming to, may I have the next slide, please? So actually coming to what is it that I would say are the lessons for life for a mentee, which helped me as a mentor, which will continue to help me, is step out of your comfort zone, ask thought-provoking questions, be an outlier. But more than that, be very anxious about your success. When you start getting compliant, then it's really the job of a mentor to say, okay, you need to not be so happy and complacent, be a little anxious about your success, because then that's where you'll then move towards maybe a more meaningful path. And learn to get some tough love. This is something, this is so important, that your mentee has to understand that when you're being a critique, when you're giving that advice, it may be tough, but it's tough love, because that's why you want them to be better. And I feel today, I'd just like to conclude that for me, if I have been a true mentor, it's only when I've seen my mentees actually do well in life. And that's the comfort one should have, that they are ready to, and this quote is so beautifully stating that a true mentor wants to see you rise to the top and is willing to let you stand on their shoulders to get there. So today, when my mentees do well, which they are doing, it's such a pleasure. And I feel, okay, I'm getting there. I'm ready to share my credits with them, ready to share my successes with them and take pride in their success. And that's the time you feel you're getting I think for a mentor, the goal should be to create this transformative path that will enrich their life, your mentee's life professionally and personally. But one of my other tips to a mentee, which I also learned, is that recognize that even though the mentor is there offering his or her shoulders, that path is our responsibility or your responsibility. So with that, I'd like to end here. Thank you.